Let's talk some sports, baby.
And remember, make tomorrow better than today and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and stay in the NFL to look at Sunday Night Football. Philadelphia Eagles took a commanding half-game lead in the NFC East on Sunday with a 25-20 win over the 49ers. Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz took a lot of heat after the Eagles started the season 0-2-1, and they really needed a big game to win back the team. And it wasn't pretty, but without four of his five starting wide receivers and his tight end number 2, Dallas Goedert, Wentz was able to claw and grind out a path to victory. Meanwhile, the 49ers, they had their chances as well, but without many starters, including quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, they just couldn't quite get it done. So, Jay, two of the more injury-ravaged teams in the NFL so far, how much can you take away from a game like this?
Well, I mean, we've had a quarter of the NFL season now, and this is an interesting case study for this point. These two teams play in, respectively, the best and worst divisions in football, which is why this game was, even though you can argue that both teams needed this game, the Eagles, even if they lost this game, would have been a half game back instead of a half game up. I mean, you can be 0-3-1 and still, maybe you can go for first place next week when the Cowboys and the football team, when they inevitably lose. But meanwhile, in the NFC West, we know things are a bit different. With the Seahawks at 4-0, the Rams at 3-1, and the Cardinals, they've taken a step back after the 2-0 start, but they're still up there. Meanwhile, the 49ers are tied for last in that division. It's been that competitive. I suspected the 49ers would take a bit of a step back, a little Super Bowl hangover, and also I thought this would be a real big year for Russell Wilson, which is actually playing out right before our very eyes. But you combine that maybe a little Super Bowl hangover with just a rash of injuries, which both the 49ers and Eagles are just being ravaged by injuries. I think the Denver Broncos are the third team. It's those three teams that have been completely decimated so far. But this had a little bit of a preseason feel to it, not how the game was played, but who was playing. Because there's so many guys out there that you're looking around like, who are these guys? I mean, you talk about you mentioned it with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, Jalen Reagor, and even J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is a big loss at this point because you're looking down the line and you're saying, well, I mean, is Greg Ward really our number one option on the outside? And, I mean, come on now. Like, we over here talking about guys like John Hightower and Travis Fulgham. What is a Fulgham? What is that? I mean, he's making a game-winning play down there with a big touchdown catch. I mean, they do have Miles Sanders and Zach Ertz, but beyond that, that's about it. And when you have Zach Ertz and no one else, no disrespect to these other guys who are out there, playing hard, but Zach Ertz, I mean, 4 catches for 9 yards. The 49ers definitely made it a point to take him away the best they could. And I know Carson Wentz, to get to him, he's taken a lot of heat so far, and I think some of it rightfully so because it's been a dreadful start. I mean, when you play Cincinnati to a tie, I mean, that's something that we can't excuse. But we also have to take into consider this. If you go back to last season, Carson Wentz has been playing with just a host of office supplies on the field compared to what they should actually have out there. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson. I mean, I don't know when we're going to see them on the field regularly again. You mentioned their second tight end, Dallas Goedert. I mean, he's a really good player. And then you turn to the offensive line. Brandon Brooks was out very early at the beginning of training camp. Very early on. Now Jason Peters on injured reserve. They had a guy out there who had 20 career snaps coming into the game. And then Lane Johnson, your stalwart at right tackle, he was in and out of the game all night. So you're left with Jason Kelsey, who was having his own problems. Some of those snaps he was throwing, I don't know what they were. But there are just so many dudes. And you think about it, this is something that Carson Wentz has been dealing with for, a year, almost a full season now. So many injuries. And you got to wonder how long, how many times he can overcome that. It's fair to say the first 3 weeks couldn't get it done. And but this is one of those examples where when you combine the fact that I think Carson Wentz, I think he's an exceptional quarterback. I still, even after these early season struggles, I would put him top 5. I absolutely would. But this is one of those examples when you look at this game and you look at his performance, the numbers won't blow you away. 18 of 28, 193 yards, a touchdown to pick. That interception, though, I really don't put it on him. He was hit as he's throwing. He got a bad bounce in the air. It was an easy catch for some defensive lineman or linebacker who was just standing there. But outside of that, he made a lot of really good plays. He is still one of the best quarterbacks in the league at avoiding pressure, creating extra time, and making plays outside the pocket. And I think his toughness is not to be denied. I mean, when he runs with the football, he runs with a purpose. He dives for first downs. It's a big deal, some of these things. So when you combine that with the state of the NFC East, which is a complete and utter disgrace. I mean, I'm looking at these point differentials right now. Philadelphia is a -23. The football team, I don't even know if they should change their name right now. I don't know. It doesn't resemble a football team. None of these teams do. They're a -33. Dallas is a -20. The New York Giants, by the way, they have been doubled up this season. They've scored 47 points and given up 96. That's a -49. It's unreal what we're witnessing. But then you go to the other side with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they're dealing with their own injuries as well, but they did get George Kittle back, and he tore up the Philadelphia defense. 15 catches for, $173? I mean, just one of those performances that really – 183, yeah. One of those performances was just absolutely outstanding. And I think I think Jimmy Garoppolo's in this game. They win it. I don't think he makes the mistakes that Nick Mullins made. But also remember Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert on the offensive side. They're missing those guys. And then defensively, the defensive line is just not as strong without Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas. Don't forget DeForest Buckner over with the Indianapolis Colts now. So the defensive line is just not quite as good. And of course, Richard Sherman being out. So these two teams, there's just so many players that are not available. I think overall, again, I think this game is more important to San Francisco, quite frankly. I think it's a big loss for them. I think this is a game they absolutely could have won. But Philadelphia, just with how their division is, you can never count them out, because as much as Dallas should be owning this division, that they're just allergic to prosperity. Let's call it what it is.
Is this stat right about Mullins? Did he really have a 13 QBR?
He sure did.
That's that high.
A 13. That is amazing. A 13. That is quite outstanding. Look, that 13 is crazy. So, listen, you got Kittle. Kittle is the truth. That's one takeaway I took away off the rip. He the truth. Like, this dude is, I think, right now, the most intimidating tight end in the game right now. Because Travis Kelce is good, but he don't intimidate you. Yo, this dude, Kittle, you come up there and you half-ass with him, he going to stick your face mask through your face and keep you going to the sideline. This dude is the God's honest truth. Now, with that said, I think I think a lot of people owe Jimmy Garoppolo some applause here. Because, we like to be like, hey, this team can win without Jimmy. This team, I think what this game showed, don't get me wrong, C.J. Beathard, he came in pretty good off the bench. But can you do that if you the starter of the next game? That's what I want to see. Let me see you do that when you the part of the game plan and not the backup guy. And I feel like this game made me appreciate Jimmy Garoppolo more, because it shows you how hard it is to be a quarterback in the NFL, especially be a guy that came from the Patriots, and then be a guy that, we second guess, how confident are we in this guy? Just run the ball. Kyle Shanahan, like, yeah, I know you haven't thrown the ball much. Just run the ball. Don't worry about it. And then you kind of see these guys, Mullins coming here with the hot 13 QBR. And then, Bethel, he came in off the bench, but it's a reason why he came in off the bench. He's not a starter. Let's be real. Let's call it what we call it, right? So when I look at the 49ers, that's what I take away the most is I got a greater appreciation for Jimmy Garoppolo. And, Kittles is the truth. Boy, he is, man, let me tell you. That dude, he out there running like he out on parole or something. Like that dude is, he the truth. And then let's switch over to the Eagles. Here's the deal. I know this is unfair to Dak Prescott, but it is what it is. This is why that type of performance last night is, to me, why Dak would not get what he wants from Dallas. Because all you got to do with Wentz is give him a capable defense, and he's like, you know what? Those scoreboard cutouts we got in the fans? Bring a couple of them down here. I need somebody to throw the ball to. Let's get in this end zone. And he gets it done. Say whatever you want to about him being fragile. He gets hurt a lot, and I'm not against that. But this dude gets it done. He done lost some games that he shouldn't have lost. But for the most part, he gets it done. His numbers weren't spectacular, but just like Jay said, and to his credit, Fulcrum, never heard of the dude before, and he throws a dime to him down the sideline. I mean, a dime right in the bread basket. Dial it up, 911, clean up on all 6 in the bread basket, and we never even heard of this dude. We gotta Google this cat. We got to make sure that's really his name. I don't know, but that's what a good quarterback does. But then on the other side, you got a guy, hey, let me fill up the stat sheet. Let me throw for 450 yards 3 weeks in a row. And that's all we got for it. It's that 450 yard 3 weeks in a row. So, listen, at the end of the day, from what I've seen, I don't have a reason why I don't think the Eagles won't win this division again, because – what the hell is anybody else in that division doing to win it? I mean, I'll wait. I don't see it. So last night kind of convinced me that, if you give Carson Wentz a little more on the offense side, give him some defense. I mean, God, the Eagles defense still got some juice in it, evidently, because we've seen that they can still play. You give him enough of that. I mean, look, Doug Peace is going to get you enough plays, and you know what I'm saying? You will be the division winner. And let me be clear about this. This division only getting one team in the playoffs, and that will be the division winner. Ain't nobody else getting in the playoffs in this division. So right now, basically, the Eagles, they just pacing themselves. You know what I'm saying? They just like, win here, sprinkle in a little loss there, give me a little more win. Don't worry, we'll be in the postseason. You seen the rest of these guys? Don't worry about it. We good. The Cowboys still saying this Mike McCarthy's first year. Washington still trying to figure out their new name. And the Giants, they mourning over Saquon Barkley's legs because they're like, man, you really let us down. So with all that going on, this the Eagles division to lose. So, yeah, man, my biggest takeaway was Kittle is the truth. I got more appreciation for Jimmy Garoppolo. Carson Wentz, you get him enough, he can get the job done, and the Eagles' defense still got some juice left.
Yeah, and to that point, I'm glad you brought up the defensive line, because the Eagles' defensive line can still take over games at times. They're still that good. Also, one more quick about the division. The Giants are also – I think they're also trying to figure out what a Joe Judge is. I still don't think we quite know what that means. But I do have a question for you, and I would talk about kind of how – the Eagles had a point last year where they looked dead in the water, and then they figured it out. I think they were 5-7 and then reeled off 4 in a row to win the division. It almost has I know it's earlier in the season, but it almost has a similar feel already in that it looks like that they can't do anything right. And it still feels like, because of the other 3 teams, because the Washington and the Giants, they're just not very good at all. And Dallas just isn't – it doesn't seem like they're willing to just grab what should be in front of them. And it just has that feel that Philadelphia is going to do it again. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just like I said, I don't see any evidence out of Dallas that makes me think, hey, when the rubber meets the road and you need that one game, Dallas gonna like they still out here talking about this Mike McCarthy first year. Oh, Dak Prescott didn't get signed this offseason, and Amari Cooper can't beat a top-notch cornerback, and they got all these excuses. And all Carson Wentz doing is like people just like, yo, get it together. Carson, get it together. God, yo, what's up with this dude, man? He acting like a little, yo, get your together. You know what I'm saying? And he's going out and winning these games. So until I see some out of the Cowboys or so, I agree with you. Going
to drink of wisdom, stats, and research. Travis Fulgham is a 6th-round pick from Old Dominion, picked 184th overall as a 6'2", 215-pound tight end. So,
thank you
I guess he's
to
a
the
wide
research
receiver,
department.
maybe. Regardless, the biggest thing for the Eagles, like you said, man, Carson Wentz needed this game in the worst way. I know we're singing his praises again today, but there was a time in the last couple of weeks where it was looking pretty bad. I mean, he had thrown 2 touchdowns to like 4 or 5 picks. I think maybe got even worse than that. He had been sacked like 11 times in 3 games, and there was a lot of discontent in that Eagles locker room, and there was a lot of stories and a lot of holes being poked in what Carson Wentz has kind of been doing there, especially this season. And this win was, to me, it was desperately needed. If they lose this game, I think the Eagles may have – I think the Jalen Hurts show would have started. I really do. I mean, we didn't really get a chance to talk about it, but it was looking pretty bleak for a little bit. And this is a game they didn't – I guess they really weren't supposed to win. Not many people picked them to win. I sure did. And Carson – all I saw out there was Carson Wentz was figuring out a way to win the game. I mean, he was out there grinding. He was making plays, taking hits. And that offensive line is back. I mean, Jay, you talked about it especially. That 49ers defensive line's been wrecked. They still got 3 sacks, 7 tackles for losses, and 10 quarterback hits. So, and that's with one or 2 first-round picks still left on the.
And and Wentz escaped trouble many times back there.
Right, and that's exactly. If he was a statue, oh my God, he would have been sacked 8 more times like Washington did to him week 1. So that was desperately needed for him to go out there with this ragtag group of dudes and just figure out how to win a game. That's got to be a huge boost of confidence for him and a big win for him for that locker room going forward. Because if you're the Eagles, you've got the Steelers on the road, and then you've got the Ravens your next 2 games. So you could still be 1-4-1, which in the NFC East that's probably still a commanding lead. But things may not be completely peachy. But I think without this game, there would have been some really big issues in Philly. And for the 49ers, man, you just gotta get healthy. I feel like Beathard probably should have been the starter. I mean, if he's a 3rd-round pick you're trying to groom. Maybe Mullins, you thought maybe he'd give you a better chance because that one time he did the thing once a while back. But, I don't know. I mean, if I got a high draft pick, I want to see him play. But obviously it was easy for Beathard to come in there and try to throw against prevent defense versus Mullins having to play the whole game. But he didn't look very good. All the thing he really did was just throw to George Kittle and tell you, hey, good luck, man. Run, Forrest, run type thing. So, but I think when Jimmy Garoppolo gets back, this team will stabilize. But I think you're already kind of seeing that Super Bowl hangover with these guys, whereas the Chiefs, I don't think are going to have it. I think it's pretty evident that the 49ers, Garoppolo or not, they're going to have some struggles going down the road.